The Overlord's Teachings 35, Immortal Legacy. Part 1. Why should I learn it? Mortals die, legends calcify. Ah, so you wish to carve your name into eternity? Good, you're beginning to think like an overlord. Let me teach you why mastering the craft of immortal legacy is not a vanity, but an obligation. Your reign must not only exist, it must echo through the marrow of unborn generations. 1. Mortality is a biological constraint. Legacy is an intellectual rebellion. The second law of thermodynamics tells us entropy will consume all. Flesh decays, stars die. But information, when encoded correctly, in stories, systems, and symbols, outlives entropy. This is not superstition, this is mimetic engineering. To deny death, you must stop thinking in terms of body. Think in terms of replicating ideas, self-preserving ideologies, contagious commands. You do not need to live forever. You need your will to be unerasable. 2. History is written by the loudest liar with the longest sword. Philosophers speak of Plato's forms, ideal versions of all things. You must become the form of authority, so perfect in your control, even your downfall, if it ever comes, only amplifies your myth. Napoleon, Caesar, Genghis. They died, but their concepts metastasized. And what are you compared to them? A god who eats gods for breakfast. But gods are forgotten too, unless they're institutionalized. That, my pupil, is what you're building. Not a reign, a pantheon, with one name etched into every temple, mind, and neural archive. Yours. 3. The weak seek immortality through bloodlines. The overlord chooses ideas. Dynasties rot, heirs get drunk. Even clone bodies degrade. But ideological supremacy? Now that is self-replicating dominance. Richard Dawkins described the meme as the unit of cultural evolution. So what are you, if not the prime meme of power? The archetype of inevitability, encoded in education, embedded in governance, encrypted in art, whispered in rebellion. Rulers come and go, yes, but the ruler, capital R, must become a mathematical constant. PEU. So, why should you learn the art of immortal legacy? Because your bones will turn to dust, but your will, if wielded properly, becomes the axis around which civilizations rotate. Let me know when you're ready for part 2. How do I learn it? I'll show you how to build echoes that outlive even the stars. Part 2. How do I learn it? To create an immortal legacy, you must first understand the art of becoming a myth. Learning to build an immortal legacy is no mere task. It is the refinement of every action, every word, and every thought to ensure that it reverberates through time, long after the dust has settled on your empire. Now listen closely. This is where you are forged. It will require precision, patience, and a willingness to manipulate history itself. 1. Understand the anatomy of memory. Before you can engrave your name into eternity, you must understand how to create lasting memories. Memories don't just belong to individuals, they belong to societies. They become encoded in collective consciousness. The key lies in repetition and emotional charge. When people are emotionally invested in an idea, they never forget it. You will be the emotional architect. Conditioning. Utilize both positive and negative reinforcement. Embrace operant conditioning. Build a system where your image, your will, is linked with both rewards and punishments. Repetition. Every interaction, every decree, every victory must be woven into the fabric of the empire. People will forget the mundane. They will never forget what is repeated and experienced with high emotional investment. 2. Craft your narrative with scientific precision. You are not merely a ruler, you are a storyteller, and your story must be as flawless as the laws of physics. Look to narrative theory. Understand the psychology of storytelling, the power of the hero's journey, the essential triumph over chaos, and the careful crafting of your own myth. Think like a director, not just a leader. You must learn to manipulate perception, to shape your narrative even while events are unfolding. Create conflict. Without struggle, there is no hero. Create enemies, but also create the perception of enemies. They may be real, or they may be convenient constructs for the tale you wish to tell. Strategic omissions. What you don't say is often as powerful as what you do. Control your narrative by controlling what information is withheld. 3. Imprint your will on culture and institutions. Your legacy will not survive on the whispers of a few loyalists. You must integrate your will into the very structure of society. Your name must be synonymous with civilization itself. The greatest minds throughout history knew this. Machiavelli, Tocqueville, Plato, they understood that power comes not just from might, but from the control of systems that shape reality. The law, religion, the military, and education are your tools. Create monuments. The Egyptians built pyramids. You will build systems. Memorialize your reign in the very institutions that form the backbone of society. Every law, every educational institution, every system must have your legacy embedded within it. The cult of the leader. Cultivate a reverence for your being, but not through mere worship. It must be rooted in practicality. The belief that society cannot function without you is paramount. Network of control. Place your loyalists in key positions, not only in government, but also in cultural institutions. Ensure that your legacy is transmitted at the roots, through every generation. 4. Master the art of fear and love. This is the fine line, the sacred balance between terror and affection. Create a duality that keeps your subjects in a constant state of awe and dependence. Fear as a tool, but also fear must be wielded with surgical precision. Not every decree must be an iron fist. Sometimes it is the threat of your wrath that secures compliance. Use fear to enforce loyalty, but only unleash it when necessary. 5. Leave a legacy of ideas. Even after death, your ideas should be able to move through the ages. This is not a matter of just ruling. It's about dictating the course of civilization. Look to the philosophers, artists, scientists. Their works do not die. Their ideas are embedded in the very architecture of civilization. Your work should be no different. Make your ideas influential. Saturate them into the minds of your followers, and let them spread like wildfire. Knowledge as power. Educate the next generations in your image. Ensure that their thoughts and actions are conditioned by the ideologies you've laid down. So, how do you learn it? You learn it by becoming both the student and the master of history. You learn it by understanding the mind, by dissecting how humans remember, how they love, how they fear, and you use that knowledge as your tool. History is written by the victors, but it is also controlled by those who master perception. Now, you are ready to begin. Part 3. How do I apply it to my benefit? A tomb is for the forgotten. A legacy is for the eternal. Ah, successor. Now that you've grasped the nature of memory, myth, and manipulation, it's time to immortalize your dominion, not through the frailty of flesh, but by embedding yourself into the very concept of power itself. You shall become a constant, like gravity, ever present, never questioned. 1. Institutionalize your image. You must become more than a man. You must become a symbol, something so essential that your removal would cause the collapse of order itself. Name the law after yourself, the lex dominatus, the doctrine of eternity. Every rule must bear your signature. When people quote justice, they must quote you. 2. Clone your thoughts, not your flesh. The fool chases immortality through biological continuity. The genius, the overlord, infects time with ideology. Create doctrinal schools. Train philosophers, jurists, tacticians. Not to think independently, but to refine your thoughts. They are your disciples, not successors. AI archives. Encode your voice, your decisions, your essence into artificial minds that shall govern in your tone long after your bones have turned to dust. Let them think as you would. Let them enforce as you would. 3. Weaponize forgetfulness against your enemies. To secure your memory, you must erase theirs. Memory control operations. Alter or erase history where your enemies were ever triumphant. Did a rebellion nearly succeed? It didn't. Did a hero oppose you? He was a traitor, crushed before he rose. 4. Design for collapse and resurrection. Even stars die, my successor. But the clever overlord ensures that if the empire must collapse, it collapses in such a way that you remain its only answer. Booby-trap the system. Let bureaucracy tangle itself without your command. Let economies depend on your name stamped upon every credit. Should rebellion succeed, the machine breaks, and only you hold the blueprint. 5. Seed existential dread into the idea of your absence. To apply your immortal legacy, make it emotionally necessary for your subjects to cling to it. Your disappearance must feel like death itself. Social conditioning. Begin early. Let children swear oaths by your name. Let the mere idea of life without you cause panic attacks. 6. Build a cult that hates you, but can't escape you. Yes, even your enemies must play their role. History requires conflict to keep a memory alive. Let them hate, but make them addicted. The rebel's paradox. Let insurgents idolize your cunning while condemning your tyranny. They are your best advertisers, and so your legacy becomes inescapable. It is not carved in stone. It is woven into the air, into the blood of civilization. You will be remembered, not fondly perhaps, but completely, eternally. When the stars fade and galaxies are dust, they will still whisper your name.